say what all this business is, let me go ahead and make sure that the YouTube stream is working because, well, no, theoretically it shouldn't because it picked its own thumbnail. So theoretically this should work perfectly fine. So just bear with me 1 second. Not upcoming. Okay, YouTube is being dumb. A little bit. So, for those who have followed along with my channel, you know that my general opinion of Destiny has gone down drastically in recent years. I had pretty much followed along with it. I had hung out a string of hope. Then during the echoes, or the episodes, I should say, my faith kind of dwindled down to zero. And when Edge of Fate was announced and the whole light power reset thing, the new grind being worse than ever, got announced, I decided to take a little bit time off. Now, officially, and forgive me because I'm still eating my lunch a little bit, officially I did take a break from Destiny. As a whole, I still do not own the Edge of Fate, but I did play the power grind. So, at this point, I can confirm it is a terrible slog. Because I easily put, I want to say like 5 or so different nights worth of effort, maybe like 3-ish hours. I'm not even past 100 light. And that is me doing all the challenges, all the rewards, getting all the XP, and obviously I'm not with a team, I can't be carried and that sort of thing. So for the solo grinder, it looked terrible. So right now, Ash and Iron got its reveal trailer not too long ago, and officially, my opinion was put in a video I just put out yesterday. I was going to put that out Thursday, but I was on the road helping family move. So because of that, my general opinion has gone down even a little bit more because just saying Plague Lands and not specifying Siva immediately meant that pretty much Plague Lands were returning without the thing that made the Plague Lands the Plague Lands. Now, as we get on, a bunch of my friends have pretty much come to the same conclusion. We're not exactly sure how the story from Edge of Fate is connecting to Ash and Iron, period. We're not sure how the conductor goes from Kepler and killing interdimensional eldritch gods, and suddenly now she's delving through scrap in some random sector in old Russia. That being said, there is still something to be discussed. I will actually be playing Ash and Iron. I don't know if it will be on stream. I'll at least be delving into it because, of course, it is a free update, so there is nothing holding me back from getting an actual opinion, unlike Edge of Fate, which I would have to pay $40 to play 12 missions, you know. But aside from that, in total, we're just gonna hang out and chill. At current time, it's 11:46 a.m., and the stream should be theoretically starting in another 14-ish minutes. So, I'm just gonna sit here, I'm gonna eat my food, I'm gonna let the music play until the thing pops up. If anyone has, of course, any questions in the chat, that is always welcome. I will answer them to my best of my ability. And before anyone asks in terms of the follow-up in the comments, because I will be cutting this down based on reactions in the future, if somebody does one of those usual, if you hate Destiny so much, why are you still talking about it? That's always a dumb question because in the end, I love Destiny. I just hate what it is right now. So I will always follow along and comment upon the poor decisions at Bungie and generally look at something and groan if something looks ridiculous. On that note, I'm going to let the music play and I shall mute myself a little bit so I can eat a bit of my lunch, and then we shall get into it once they actually start talking. So we shall vamp for a bit. Also, screw you, bot. There we go. Forgot about that little buddy. Man, I know it's a reveal stream. It's middle of Tuesday, and most people are probably at work, but freaking that number, only 5,500 people watching for a reveal stream. I know it's the pregame, and a lot of people show up, afterwards. Yeah, it just updated 5,700. Some people are showing up, but man, 5,700 seems really freaking low. Now, I know the problem is with this, it's a saturation of the market. You have Datto, Lucky Top 10, or whoever, all the Destiny streamers, they're also streaming their own reactions to everything. So, there is a bit of a diluted market. Not everyone is just watching this, and I know I also saw IGN had something, Sony had something. There's several different sources, even if you were just going from the developers. So, I know 6,000 people seems very low considering we're 5 minutes till streams start, but in a way. Well, I finished my sandwich, so I suppose I can finish it there. See. How do I always lose the... Ah, there it is. Okay, get rid of that. Might as well full screen it, because why not? Actually, if anyone would mind popping up in the chat, how's the audio different? Because I think the audio balance is good between like me and the music. Is the music too high? Am I too quiet? How are we feeling? If anyone can give some feedback right now. All right. About a minute to go. Let's see how long it takes them to actually get into something worth discussing and not just talking about everyone who's on the couch that has been every person on the couch for like the last 5 dev streams. Thank you there, Max Enders, for the feedback. Thank you, sir. I never know, because I look at my bar and I'm like, the game audio is like, or the stream audio, or what's it called? The music is like half of my noise, and I'm just not sure if I could be heard or they're overheard. All right, let's get into it.
All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, Guardians. Welcome. My name is Dylan. I'm going to be your host today. And happy 11-year anniversary to Destiny 1's launch. I wanted to make sure to cover that at the very top because it's kind of mind-melting. 11 years of Destiny. Had no idea we'd be here. Today we have a ton to talk through, so we're going to rush through this. No, we aren't going to rush. But we have Renegades. We have some really cool stuff to talk about that's going to be coming in December.
Now, the meme we could discuss is the fact that 11 years is going to be the last anniversary, the way they're going.
Looking at your feedback, and we actually have some plans that are coming together right now to address it since Edge of Fate launched. And then we also have, on the second half of the show, we're going to be looking at Ashen Iron. We'll have a bunch of devs on the couch. We're going to talk about the activities, the loot.
Now, I always wondered why they do it this way. They talk about the DLC happening next, and then the DLC happening today.
Welcome back to the couch.
Hey, Dylan, it's great to be here. And like you were talking here in the intro, like we've got some really big changes coming based on all the feedback.
Ah, the man who said that Edge of Fate was going to be Ash of Iron or Rise of Iron sized,
give a little bit of a first
which was a lie.
And that's why we got our laptops, right? There's a lot to get through, and there's a lot to talk about. So we're just going to Dylan and I are making sure we're going to get through it all. So we've been hard at work on collaborating with our friends at Lucasfilm Games to make something that is like unmistakably Star Wars, but authentically a Destiny story and experience. And so today we get to start pulling back the curtain on that.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to embrace my inner Scarrow and ask, Robbie, is there a Vidoc?
Yeah, so you all asked for it. You're going to get it. We're about to play a Vidoc.
About goddamn time.
At the Lawless Frontier. You're stepping
They built
into a
Destiny on
world of
Vidocs, and they
criminals,
started doing
shady
dev
deals,
streams. And
with
dev
an
streams were
arsenal
when
of
things started going
that
down.
You'll only be able to find within a black market here that's emerged within Seoul. And so, yeah, let's take our first look at Renegades.
That awkward pause when they're trying to transition.
Seeing how stunningly Star Wars it felt was electric.
I just jumped into that walker and I just annihilated the encounter.
Squeezing that trigger.
They are really edging into Star Wars.
It was like a whole new world opened up for me.
We get Briggs, and then immediately we get AT-ATs, or ATSTs.
That we haven't really done in Destiny before.
That ignition, that hiss, that sound.
Oh, it's like that. Okay.
We begin in the shadow of a prophecy that says our end is already written. It's here we draw a line in the sand, where we start the long journey to fight our fate. In Renegades, Guardians infiltrate a criminal underworld to save a friend whose past has caught up with them and disrupt the rise of powerful new enemies. In special collaboration with Lucasfilm Games, we took inspiration from Star Wars to craft a one-of-a-kind Destiny story. Renegades redefines what an expansion can be. It brings the grit, guns, and glory of a space western to Destiny. But Renegades isn't just about power. It's about what you're willing to risk to change the future.
Genuinely looking at this, I wonder how much would be different if Lucasfilm said no.
The folks at Lucasfilm were such great collaborators. They understood that in order for this to work, we had to find where the Venn diagram of our...
Also wonder how much they regretted authorizing this deal after the general opinion of Edge of Fate went...
Themes of hope. Those little places in that Venn diagram were the ones that really helped us find the story that we want to tell together.
If you look at Star Wars and you look at Destiny, you can kind of see that parallel that exists. So for instance, our Dredgen, they're our Sith.
Pretty Sithy.
Yeah, and then you've got the Barrett Imperium, and they are very, very Empire-like.
Yes.
They have a huge appetite for expansion.
I think of the Praxic Order. There are Jedi in this release, and they are very focused on order and law and understanding that there is a binary in our universe of good and evil. We get to poke at that a little bit in a way that suits our story.
As a pause moment, that was very clearly Cabal. So I'm wondering, who the frick are these Cabal that are coming out of nowhere? Because after The Leviathan showed up, the Red Legion showed up. We already wiped out all of the other factions that were just scattered throughout Mars and anywhere else. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, we get this very high-tech advanced organization. Like, as far as I knew, Tor Battle was done, and all of the Cabal that were left were in our system. So, where the fuck is this very advanced Cabal organization coming out of nowhere?
Our world, while still feeling very much like the inspiration that we're calling for.
Without just doing a Star Wars, hey, they're here now, wah.
Edge of Fate leaves us with a really big pass forward into the future. We know of this prophecy now that tells us that we need to bind the Nine or we face extinction. And Drifter was there on Kepler. He saw all of this.
Not running from this one.
Drifter is convinced that there's a connection between the Nine and the rise of this new faction, the Barrent Imperium. He sees them rising at an unnaturally fast rate and is insistent that there's a problem. But the Vanguard isn't listening. They're insisting that he needs to stand down.
Oh, absolutely. The cost of this brand deal would have gone up if they had seen the mostly negative reaction to Edge of Fate.
And at the top, there's the Barrent Imperium. You need to work with all these crooked criminal syndicates in between, earning your power, building up the notoriety, getting the gear that you need to take down
Wait, what?
the powerful Imperium at the top.
There's a weapon.
Did I just see fucking Vex playing cards? What the fuck? I know with the Coral Vex, supposedly the conductor was giving them more free will in comparison, but fucking gambling? What?
Barrent Imperium have made.
Oh,
we
God.
need to be the ones to destroy it, and we're not going to be able to do that unless we.
I know that was concept art, and there's a very good chance they didn't make it to the end, but Jesus Christ, the fact that they even suggested that the Hive Mind Vex had a gambling problem.
The Lawless Frontier is filled with big, chaotic, cooperative activities. You're gonna
There's another
choose
big
the job,
hobgoblin.
You're gonna choose which renegade abilities you're gonna take into those jobs, and then you're gonna drop into the action with your team, smash up those objectives, get as many riches and treasures as you can, and then get out or die trying.
So what, is Destiny now an extraction shooter?
The Lost Frontier Hollow map. You'll see Mars, Europa, and Venus with swamps that are very reminiscent of Dagobah. There's some hints of Hoth.
Oh, they're
in
finally doing Venus again, huh?
Of both Star Wars and Destiny, like Mars.
Took them 11 years.
Very
No, fuck.
reminiscent of Sarlacc pits, and you don't want to fall into them. You'll die.
These are Destiny locations. It's just we're taking inspiration from some of these iconic places in Star Wars.
Let's say we go to Mars, and you're gonna pick a
Inspiration
valuable
or
job
copy
for the
pasting,
ball, and
honestly.
and then you either matchmake
It's
with
very clearly Jabba's
with you
floating
solo,
palace
every
in a
time you're
Sarlacc
in
pit.
a different location on the map. Your objectives are going to be a little different each time, and it also might be a different time of day. So there's a lot of variety and richness within these activities. We want them to be highly replayable.
This is where the very critical part of me comes. Time of day does not equal variety. I'm sorry, Bungie. It's a nifty thing to have a day-night cycle, but saying this map at night and this map at day is two different things, that is very much not the case.
Along the way, we're going to throw a bunch of curveballs. You might run into a missile tower that's trying to take you out from halfway across the map. And you have to like divert and take it out, and you get some extra credits out of that.
You know, they're really doing extraction shooter there. It's Renegades is Helldivers Destiny, from the sound of everything.
All hell drops in on your head from the Cabal. Your ship flies in, you hop aboard, and you got to exfil.
Over the course of the campaign and deep into the post-game of Renegades, you're going to be unlocking and earning a bunch of different Renegade abilities.
We've got things like airstrikes, Cabal drop pods, vehicles like the Cabal walkers, interceptors, swoop bikes, turrets. We've got 9 abilities, 7 upgrades. There's a ton of stuff that you can bring in and just change how things play.
It's like a tech tree of options.
It's like a whole tree of options across support, defensive, and
They're literally just doing Helldivers Destiny.
A lot to play with here.
The Lawless Frontier isn't just about raw power. It's about influence. Shady backroom deals, working for these powerful syndicates and against them at different times. And all of this takes place at the heart of the criminal underworld in Tharsis Outpost.
Yep, that is
They've
just straight
been
up
preoccupied
Vex chilling.
off saving the world, and they haven't been looking at Tharsis. It's changed a lot since the last time we were there.
It's now this thriving black market, this criminal underworld.
And last time we were there, I don't even recall that
Tharsis
name.
Junction became Tharsis Outpost. If you have an unsavory job that you need done, you can find it at Tharsis Outpost.
Tharsis Outpost feels appropriate for both Star Wars and for us. When we looked at Mos Eisley as inspiration, we knew that we could play in that playground in a really fun way. From the ghosts that you'll see floating around to one Elixni with all 4 of his Elixni arms shaking up drinks. We took that inspiration and we found the Destiny spin on it. Criminal syndicates have moved in.
You're working with the syndicates. You are building your notoriety with them.
The 3 different syndicates that we created, we're going to be dealing with. The Pikers are Elixni. They're kind of like an anarchist biker gang. Unlike other Elixni, they're atheists. They don't worship machines. They follow relics. We've also got the Totality Division.
Oh,
A
Tharsis
subset
Junction was
of
that
the
subway
Burning
in
Kind.
Mars.
They're run by
Okay.
Photonons, and their enforcer Rao is going to be the leader of this group. And we've got Tharsis Reformation. They are a breakaway group from Maya's Vex. They're starting to think for themselves and figure out what it means to be an individual.
They're starting to do crime. They're wearing clothes.
Crime and wearing clothes are what all individuals do. We need to have new
Well.
people to fight and new people to root for. And this was our opportunity.
Oh, hang on. My PNG thing is going
The heart
wonky.
of the Renegade fantasy is not just surviving the lawless frontier. It's garnering influence
Let me just
and
cut that
building
off
your
for a second.
power so that you can bend it to your will.
In the end game, to get the best weapons, the best armor, the coolest exclusive cosmetics, you're going to need to work with the syndicates to increase your notoriety. By
I'll just leave that off for now.
Job successfully, alone or with a crew, and then doing so you'll unlock our highest risk, highest reward jobs. And at the same time, you're going to have the ability to do a special job that'll take you off planet to the dungeon. And you'll also unlock Invasion.
That's right, Invasion is back. But this doesn't work like Gambit. It's opt-in, the invader has some initiative when Invasion begins. This is more strategic.
You scan the battlefield, and you're like, okay, is this the right time for me to take the shot? And what's the right tool for me to do it? Do I use an airstrike or a vehicle? Do I use a Cabal Walker?
You know, if Helldivers didn't exist, this would look really cool. But it does, so now it just looks like a bit of a ripoff.
Renegades marks the Guardian's descent into a criminal underworld. A world of shadows and syndicates, where your light and your choices will cut a path forward. You'll fight dirty, break the rules, and build a hardened crew that can take on any job, standing up to the most ruthless.
It also doesn't sound like there is a campaign.
Even in the darkest corners of this world, there's still a glimmer of hope. Guardians will have to find their own version of balance between loyalty and survival, between power and purpose. Because there's more at play than credits and contracts. Forces are on the move, ones that see you not just as a player, but as a piece on the board. To change the future, you'll have to become the
Like, there's very clearly cinematics, but it doesn't look like there was a story per se. Because usually we would have heard whispers by now.
Start the engines. Take off as soon as you can.
Well then. And of course they have to advertise the Ultimate Edition.
All right, welcome back. Sorry, I love Vidocs. I gotta stop looking at chat. Let's get the show on the road. So pre-orders for the new Renegade Standard Edition start right now.
Of course
And,
they do.
We actually have some added bonuses. Even if you pre-ordered the, what do we got? Year of Prophecy Edition, we have 2 additional cosmetics that are going live today with the patch. the Starside introduction emblem, and a new exotic ship, which we call the Renegade Leader. You're going to see it on the screen right now, and I'm going to ask a silly question. What are we looking at?
I mean, I think we're kind of looking at something that looks like an X-Wing here a little bit, maybe a little red leader action. So, I mean, this is one of our homages, right? That's the team had a lot of fun with. So
Yeah,
we
and
wanted to
it's
build, like, an iconic
straight up
ship
just
that
Helldivers
kicks
in
off the
Destiny.
road
If I wanted to play an extraction shooter, I just go continue playing
And what's cool
Helldivers.
about this is you're
Which I
actually
wouldn't have to
seeing
pay
your ship,
$40
should
to
be
play
able
the
to
new
play.
stuff,
That's gonna be
because their
flying
updates
by
are
when you
free.
deploy your Renegade abilities in the Lawless Frontier, and also you're going to be using your ship to go between different areas within the Plaguelands here in the Reclaim activity that's launching today as well.
Awesome.
When is my
So
PNG
with,
fixed?
yeah,
Oh,
pre-orders talked
nope,
about,
it's
let's dive into
struggling.
the
Yep,
Vidoc.
nope, I
Roddy,
don't know.
where we
Yep,
start?
nope, that's not
So I
working.
think it's
Okay.
like probably best. There's so much, like, to do a really kind of quick overview of what we looked at here. So Renegades thrust you and your crew into the heart of a lawless frontier that's emerged around Mars, Europa, and Venus, all new locations across those places. And you're trying to keep up with Drifter, ultimately, who's chased.
You know, and this brings up another great issue that I just discussed in my last video, and the fact that Bungie doesn't go back to other locations we've been to, in this case, Mars and Venus, until there's a reason to go back. Looking in hindsight, when the Cosmodrome returned, we had one mission that took us to the Cosmodrome. We then straight up fucked off and went back to Europa. The fact that they can't do that again, where they have one slight tidbit of Venus, and then they reintroduce the patrol space, the strikes, and everything else, and to deal with that, and then come back to more story to that after, I can't believe they haven't just kept doing that. Honestly, it's aggravating.
Facing startling visions of calamity and rumors of a powerful new Cabal faction that's rising, the Baron Imperium. That Imperium's installed themselves as top dog in the criminal underworld, and Drifter's convinced that the Nine is involved with the Imperium's rapid growth. It wouldn't be the first time the Nine have meddled in the background and done some crazy things with Cabal-related enemies. Anyway, so to deal with the Imperium, you're going to take on the role of a renegade. As a guardian, you're going to smuggle, sabotage, bounty hunt your way to the top of the lawless frontier, and that means you're going to be working with the shady syndicates.
Sounds like
both
Forsaken
influence
3,
forces,
Electric
but
Smoogaloo.
ultimately, like, this is for the right reason. You're being the bad guy to do the right thing, because you can't really ignore this prophecy of extinction that showed up at the end of Edge of Fate. Yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned Drifter. We have a pretty stellar cast here, and there was a new character that we showed off in there.
Yeah, we showed one of our new characters. That's a new member of your crew who comes from the Praxic Order, actually. And they've been tasked with tracking down reports of dredging activity across the lawless frontier. And they've also been tasked with keeping an eye on Drifter, because he's been seeing and saying some crazy stuff lately. And
You're
this
not
is
going to
all
drop
being
the
done,
name?
in defiance of the Vanguard. So this Praxis Order is kind of here to kind of be oversight of everything that's happening. We've got a bunch of new villains too, alongside the criminal syndicates and their bosses. We just don't want to spoil too much right now. We're going to have more on the story closer to launch.
You can name a character without spoiling something.
Sabotaging, bounty hunting, wearing clothes, doing crime.
It's important.
Let's talk about the gameplay.
Yeah, so being an individual means crimes and clothes. We've established that going forward. So one thing to make sure is clear here, in the campaign,
That's going to be the new
that
meme
has a
after
bunch of
Pete
story
Carson's cars.
missions.
Wear clothes,
It's
do
gonna
crime.
introduce you to also the jobs that you'll be taking in addition to those story missions within the lawless frontier. So you'll be kind of climbing the ranks of the criminal underworld here, because the syndicates are not going to trust you out the gate. You kind of have to garner influence with them before they're going to help you out in dealing with the Imperium. And so then at the conclusion of the campaign, once that Imperium's chokehold is kind of loosened on Tharsis and the lawless
Bear with me
frontier,
one sec. I got to
you
black out the screen for a sec.
unintentionally kick off a turf war between the three syndicates, because now they're all vying for power, because you've kind of toppled the top dog of their power hierarchy.
Yeah.
There we go.
And so let's talk about this. In December, the Lawless Frontier is coming. It's not just like a concept. It's an activity.
Yeah, and I know we're showing something on screen right now that is when you go through this daily ritual of dealing with contested territory, you'll be able to target the syndicate you want to kind of take down in that moment. But ultimately, the Lawless Frontier is a new activity where you'll be carrying out a variety of those missions, those smuggle, bounty hunt, sabotaging. I think you kind of can tell what they're going to be all about just with the name of them. And this is you just partnering with and against the syndicates. And so it's fast, it's tactical, and it's going to throw a ton of enemies and a variety of objectives within each of these jobs at your fire team. And
Okay, that's for some reason real broken.
This is all about big, chaotic co-op action within the Lawless Frontier. Yeah.
Cool. And then when you're working with the syndicates, I expect to be paid when I take on a job. Like,
Sure.
what are they going to be
Every-
giving us?
Every criminal does.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? So, well, like one thing just to like talk about at the top because Tom and I are really excited about this, the creative lead on Renegades. The Cabal have been dropping pods on your head.
There we go.
8
boy.
years now, something like that. And so with one of our Renegade abilities, we kind of get to turn the table on the Cabal and drop one on them. It also supplies you some ammo and stuff too, some nice convenience there. But the campaign ultimately like introduce you to a number of these abilities. And the Turf War, you'll actually choose which syndicates you want to pledge to in order to unlock more abilities and a bigger suite of upgrades. Also, depending on which syndicate you're pledged to, there will be other bonuses and weekly shipments coming into Tharsis as well that you get to take advantage of. And so one thing I want to note too is that all of these Renegade abilities that we're talking about in the Vidoc, they're purely additive to your subclass abilities. The Renegade abilities do not override any of your other Guardian abilities. So like your super, your melee, your grenade, that's all at your disposal on top of these Renegade abilities. We really wanted to lean into the idea of this fantasy of you working with your crew and the various roles you could play within the Lost Frontiers of all these different type of jobs that you're going to be doing.
Awesome. And then I have to give a shout out to James Sy. He's frankly one of the biggest Star Wars nerds I've ever met in my life. But he was talking about the blaster and that feel the first time he shot it. Like, let's talk about him.
Yeah, I love that blaster, and because like my personal joke is it's like Forerunner at home. It's kind of like a legendary version of that exotic, and it just feels fucking incredible. Oh, sorry, it feels incredible. Excuse me, for kids at home. So we're gonna have a weapons deep dive close to launch. I know I keep saying that. There's a ton of the Vidoc. There's even more to be talking about in the next few months.
Now they have Mando's
What we
disintegrator
can say
rifle.
about blasters right now is they're new, powerful weapons in your arsenal, and they actually draw ammo straight from your reserves, Dylan. And so the mechanic of this is basically heating up the gun and then venting it out. So no reloading technique, but since you have to like charge up heat and you have to think
They're
about
really
everything, it's all
hammering
organic and
Star
has its
Wars
own
home.
Special reload associated with it. And so it's going to be all about finding like the rhythm of pace and battle between building up heat and venting it. It's really fun to play around with, and the team is really honing in on something like that feels really special and new. It's cool.
All right.
It's cool, yeah.
So we're not going to go too deep on campaign because spoilers. We want to let players discover that.
Yeah.
Won't
we
even
talked
name a
about the Lost
character.
Frontier, but one of the components is invasions.
Oh yeah. So you're gonna unlock invasion as part of that turf war we've been talking about, and the syndicates are like reaching out to you, and they're giving you contracts to play Hitman against other Guardian crews. So it's 1 versus 3. It's you versus a Guardian crew on the Lawless Frontier. And like we said in the Vidoc, invasion is 100% opt-in for both the invaders and the defending fire team crew. But don't worry, because all of the difficulty modes, there's always an option that is available to you if you don't want to engage in invasion.
That's going to be
we
off
wanted to make sure that, 'cause,
permanently
like,
for
even though some
most people.
love that PVE chocolate mixing with that PvP peanut butter, we wanted to make sure that if you didn't want to do that, there's always an
Another pause moment. I don't know about anyone else, but one of the most annoying things about Gambit was the invasion part. It was always annoying having somebody show up with Leviathan's Breath. Suddenly we're gone. All of our modes are gone, and then they're just gone. Every time we invade, suddenly they just throw a fucking Galahorn or something like that, and we're just off the board immediately, or spam a solo super. Invasions in Gambit were probably the most annoying part of that. So, taking the one annoying aspect from Gambit and putting it elsewhere and giving it an opt-in, opt-out where you can choose to not have it, 90% of people are likely to not have it unless it is required for some sort of quest step where you need to invade and kill. And likely, it's going to be a part of whatever exotic quests are coming with the Renegades, and that is going to be the one time people actually willingly opt in for invasions because they have to kill invaders that are attacking them or something like that. That's what happened with the Malfeasance. Oh, excuse me. That's what happened with Malfeasance, is people needed to start invading, so suddenly there was an influx of invasions everywhere.
option for you to do something else within the Lawless Frontier.
And then if you do opt in, though, there's more rewards or incentive, right?
Yep, there you
you're,
go.
like, you're basically saying, hey, fire team, I'm open to having another Guardian come and wreck shop and mess my day up, right? And so you're taking a higher risk, so therefore there's a chance of higher reward depending on how you handle
not
it.
even actually higher reward, a chance
So
at higher
that
reward.
covers,
Fucking
gameplay
Christ.
effectively. We do have a dungeon. We showed a little tease, but again, no spoilers. We'll let you discover that on day one. Let's talk about the last thing that players may have seen, or the first thing, honestly. We saw chat blown up. Let's talk about the saber.
Right. So, yeah, this is Destiny's homage, right? It's our love letter to the Star Wars lightsaber. And we're calling it the Praxic Blade. Again, we'll be sharing a whole lot more closer to launch. I'm really
So
sorry, I feel
Destiny.
like a parrot right now just saying the same thing. But what I can say is that the Praxic Blade is going to be highly customizable in both gameplay and visuals. And so there's going to be a ton of parts and components that you'll be chasing and discovering throughout the Lawless Frontier, within the Turf War, within the dungeon itself. And this is all about kind of making the Praxic Blade your own. And you saw it in the Vidoc, but the blade really does feel truly exotic right now. You can do things with it that no other weapon can do in Destiny, and I really can't wait till players get their hands on it here in a few months.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for Renegades. We have 2 more big subjects to go through today. So thanks for running us through that.
Of course.
Our next section is going to be all about quality of life. It's going to be about a lot of the feedback that we've been seeing in the live game since Edge of Fate launched. And then after that, we'll be talking about Ash and Iron with another cast of devs to talk about a bunch of cool stuff. So,
Are you scrapping Portal?
Ultimately, we have quite a lot coming over the next few months. We're going to be talking about a bunch of high-level goals.
It was about this
objectives, some of
time
our
after
philosophy.
sunsetting happened that you
We do not
canceled
have
sunsetting.
a roadmap today, but we will have a roadmap in the next few weeks outlining our road to Renegades, which I've been calling it selfishly. So we'll figure out a fancier name for it at some point, but let's dive in. I think the first thing that I want to talk about here, let me get this up. I mean, ultimately, this feels like we're having a mini community summit on stream.
Yeah.
But let's talk about rewards. Portal. Let's talk about power. Let's talk
Like the
about
chat
fun.
is at all actually
Yeah, so we'll do a little
been
bit more
taken into
table
account
setting and
for.
framing here. Like we said at the top of the stream, we've been taking a lot of this feedback to heart, right? We've been listening very intently. We've been looking at our data, and Dylan, we know we need to make some changes, right? And so this is what this whole next section is going to be about. We're going to talk about a ton of stuff. Some of it, a little bit of it, is going to come from Ash and Iron, a lot more in Renegades, and then even more in the future. And so coming back to the power climb, we want it to be faster.
I feel like generally
we want it
Ash
to
and
have
Iron
improved
is going to be a
rewards,
last
and we really
chance
wanted to
for
highlight
Sony to be
new
convinced that they
aspirational
can't.
activities,
They just need to
on
scrap the
Renegades
Portal and
launches. And so that
go
means
back to
looking at the
pre-Edge of
Renegades,
Fate.
Campaign and the Renegades jobs and the Lawless Frontier and the activities you do there, and making sure that they both feel like great sources of seasonal power. We know with the Edge of Fate, after you completed the campaign on Kepler, that there was a bunch of cool stuff to do and some rewards to get, but it didn't fit into the seasonal power game, right? It didn't feel like it was a viable path. And so these big chaotic fire team based jobs that we've built and all that variety we're pouring into it is going to be this engine to climb seasonal power. If you're just loving that activity, you're going to be able to spend an enormous amount of time there.
Yeah, and you touched on
Because you're going to have to redo it again once the Renegades comes out. Because Bungie's fucking geniuses.
And our raids and dungeons are a part of that.
Yes, they are. So we are making sure here, there's 2 approaches we're taking and a bunch of work that's going to come out of it. So our focus initially here is going to be on the new raid and dungeon content in this conversation. So that is Desert Perpetual, the Epic Raid here in a couple weeks, and then the dungeon releasing with Ash and Iron. And so we want to make sure that those are more dependable sources of power, both from weekly challenges, some of which that are going to happen in Ash and Iron, but then also we're going to be looking at the power drops that come when you're completing encounters and looking to see if we can adjust those and juice them up a little bit. The other big area, because what we're talking about when we say aspiration is like in-game. You're doing an in-game thing. I should be rewarded for that. So with the launch of the Epic Raid for the Desert Perpetual and Epic Raid and then the dungeon afterwards, we're going to make all drops, the base drops you earn in that content, tier 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's ultimately attesting to like players got through some of the power grind, they went into the raid and they were seeing tier 1, tier 2 drops, and that didn't feel like endgame loot.
It
So
did not.
we're making this tier 3 is the baseline, but then you can build up to tier 4 and tier 5 as you add more challenge, add more difficulty.
Yeah, and
So-
sorry, I think we hit on it, but I just want to make sure. We talked about improved rewards, right, around some of the newer content that is coming. This effort, though, is also being applied across the portal itself. And so, Dylan, I know you and I have talked about it a bunch. You know, we talked about solo ops, right? You mentioned Caldera.
Yeah, let's talk about variety in the
Yeah.
portal and more reasons or more ways to play.
Yeah, exactly. And part of that, right, part of that theory right here is just like that thinking is we just have to improve the rewards, right? And so a lot of what we're doing is going to be about bringing the baseline of the reward experience with Renegades up to that, closer to that solo ops experience, and also really incentivize playing in fire teams more because, hey, we know Destiny's feeling lonely right now if all you do is spend time in the mines, right? And so we want to do we know we need to do a much better job at that. The other,
just
go ahead,
just to go into that example, like we're talking about Caldera, it's a solo op activity, and players feel it is the most viable path to power. So a social game like Destiny, it is a problem where you feel like you should be playing alone for all the reasons. It's like, hey, sorry friends, You want to play raid? You want to play something else? Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm going to go into Caldera and play alone.
Yeah.
We want to address that. We
Yes.
want to make sure Destiny is social, fun.
Unfortunately, the only way to actually do that is to scrap the portal and go back to the way it was before. Because unfortunately, the main incentive to actually raid came from getting the most power and the most rewards from raiding. So now all you have to do is play your certain activity alone. God, Bungie.
Fun to play with friends. While
Eh.
hey, as a solo player, you can absolutely hop in.
You got
but we aren't going to make you feel worse. So, example there too, we said, hey, we're going to tone down Caldera and solo ops. We're actually reverting that. We had announced it. We're taking that back. And as you said, that's the new benchmark. We're going to raise things up to feel like Caldera and feel rewarding like solo ops.
Yeah, and we've already talked about that. We're going to do some of that in Ash and Iron. One of the other things we're looking at doing in Ash and Iron right now is taking our bonus engrams and having them just more consistently award power deeper into the climb and adjusting that. We're also, this is a good segue, I think, kind of into our next area where we can talk more about reworks we're going to be doing within the game and some changes we're making. So the other thing we're going to be doing with bonus engrams when Renegades launches is they're going to feed more into a weekly ritual. You know, a thing that you know when it launches, there's a bunch of stuff to do that's going to accelerate you into power climb.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the effectively weekly reset, curated activities from Bungie so you have a moment each week of, let's hop into raid night, let's do Grandmasters, things like that.
Yeah, so the thing you're speaking to, Dylan, the thing we talk about a lot is like, yeah, clan night, raid night, right? We got to get that feeling of hey, I log in on Tuesday and there's just like a bunch of stuff to look forward to.
No, we had that when we
And
had
so,
featured
a
raids
few
and
ways we're
farming
gonna do
weeks.
that is one with a new
Anytime
system
a raid
that we're
got
calling
a
Vanguard
refreshed
orders,
weapon
that
align
comes
or
out in
weapon
raids.
loadout,
So
the moment that
Vanguard
weapon
orders are
became
actually
or
this,
that
like,
raid
new
was the
objective
feature raid,
system,
people
where
swarmed
you're
that
gonna
shit.
and we should have a mock-up on screen right now. It looks like our monitor isn't showing the exact right thing just for our place in the studio, so I'm just going to assume it's working. And so within these Vanguard orders, you're going to have all these different objectives that you can do, and you don't have to.
There's that dreaded word, legacy.
Right? These are things that will just be automatically granted to you when you log into the portal.
Fucking Christ,
really
what
cool about
is all
these
this
is that
shit?
They pull some of that like Destiny 1 bounty vibe, where as you complete an order on the left-hand side of the screen of this mock-up here, you will actually roll. You can roll on higher tier orders, like a legendary order.
They're
that will
shoving
give you
so much
consistent
shit in these
rewards, or an
menus.
exotic tier order that can give you exotic tier rewards. And so this is all about just creating a bunch more like little moments of variety within the portal and these different little objectives.
I know that was a mock-up, but Jesus Christ, if
We already
that's anywhere
touched
close
on,
to the final product, that looks like
bonus engrams
shit.
A little bit, and how we're going to be reworking those even more with Renegades launches to feed into that idea of like, look at all these things in the portal. I know if I go and gobble up all the green engrams, I'm accelerating on my power climb, and that's much easier and clearer for players to understand.
They are making the portal grind even more complicated, and it was already so much more complicated than it needed to be. Ugh. You know what? It's official. My opinion is actually legitimately just scrap the portal. That's the only way that Bungie can fix Destiny right now.
But the other place that we've been getting a ton of feedback on, and we're going to be making changes to, is the weekly conquests, basically. So right now, we have the concept of the conquest as a milestone on your seasonal power journey, and it gives you like a massive, like big dump of rewards. We are going to be making those like, we're going to be making it repeatable, but then there's going to be a weekly reward for them. There's no way for us, honestly, to balance the crazy amount of rewards you get from the milestones, but we're going to make sure we incentivize them and create a weekly version as
and we actually have a change going live today to make conquests repeatable, but the rewards component is what we need to focus on for a future update.
Yeah, and you know, Dylan, you and I were talking about this a bunch over the last couple of days. Is like we want to get back to that, like we want to get conquest closer to that GM feeling, that Grandmaster Nightfall feeling of the past, and that's kind of like our little North Star for that.
Yep.
The other big thing too that we've been listening to feedback on, and we're moving really, really fast on right now, is getting weekly legacy raid and dungeon content as like a tunnel from the portal to that. So to set expectations here with Renegades, this is going to first come in the form of, hey, reasons to play this content, to do like weekly challenges and earn powerful rewards from them, right? Again, we want this weekly reset. We want you to clearly know when you log in, here's a bunch of stuff to look forward to play with your friends and others. The reason I have to set expectations, though, is like we hear the feedback about wanting the gear reprised from raids and dungeons. If we, Dylan, if we could just like flip a switch and make that happen, I think we'd be more than happy to do that. But it's just not that simple. There's a bunch of work.
And this is also the problem with the portal launching, with them saying, we know it's not in a good state, we'll update it later. Wrinkle, or figure out the wrinkles in the design and then ship it. Don't launch it and say, we'll fix this later, because then you just crashed the game by launching something half finished. Bungie, come the fuck on.
Work that goes into actually creating the new gear and the gear tiers. And so we are going to be looking to make the reward experience of Legacy and Raid Dungeons better as time goes on. Our first focus is making it fit into that weekly reset and into that power climb.
Yeah. And we have our first step today with Dungeon Lairs. In the portal, there are going to be three encounters coming from Legacy Dungeon content. You can get power bumps from those. You can get portal gear from those, but we hear the feedback on general rewards.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Let's make all these cool and unique weapons for raids and dungeons, but let's also make them not the rewards that drop.
Initially here for Renegades.
All right. So let's move on to our final two subjects. Really are centered around sandbox.
Yeah.
First of which is going to be build crafting, and then the second is around just our general approach to balance. So we have another list here of. Honestly, we've been getting a ton of feedback around featured gear.
Yeah,
We've been
featured
getting
gear was such a
feedback
stupid
around, like,
concept.
Legendary weapon tiering. What are we
Yes.
changing?
Yeah, so this whole space is about expanding build crafting and gear chase. And we hear y'all. Like, we hear that featured gear is far too restrictive for how you're playing the game right now. And so one of the big
Let's take
changes
half of the exotics and
all
make them
exotic
pointless for a
weapons
season.
and armor are going to be featured gear starting in Renegades. So the class items, your prismatic builds, they're back on the table. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You're not having to think about what exotic you put on. It's all about what build you want to craft, right? The other thing that we've been listening to a lot when it comes to the gear chase is like, hey, you might earn a tier 1, 2, or 3 weapon, a roll of a weapon you really love, your personal god roll, or the community saying this is a god roll. And you're looking at that and you're like, man, it's cool, but like it's not that top tier, right? And so in Shadow and Order, which is our major update coming after Renegades, you're going to be able to enhance the tier of your legendary weapons.
You got 3 months. Why not put it in Renegades?
With a new currency and a new feature that we're building for those. Again, this is all about expanding that gear chase.
Yeah. And before we get ahead of ourselves, like as a player, and I'm guessing in chat, people are saying, oh, so I should be keeping my tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 weapons. Where am I going to put these? What's going on with vault space?
Yeah, so with Renegades, we are going to give you more vault space. That is the thing we're going to be doing. And also, the team is working on a pretty big update to improve the sorting.
You need to add like
choosing
200,
your
not
vault
just
gear as
like
well.
50.
Yeah, we'll have many more details in the coming weeks and months when we get this roadmap together. But our final note in this section before we go to balance is the portal scoring.
Yes, yeah. So right now with the featured and new gear, there is just an intrinsic bonus that you get for wearing that gear. I guess it's extrinsic because we're asking you to put it on. But anyway, if you have it on, you get a score bonus in the portal, which means you're not only thinking about like activity customization, your build, but also now you have to think about the score too, and like
You have to think about so much other than just what am I wearing,
for the vast majority of the experience,
or what gear am I running.
I think that's just too much complexity right now, and so we are sunsetting that idea. And
Everything
so,
is
again,
too
this
fucking
gonna
complex.
drastically open up the space for you to basically use whatever you want in the vast majority of things you play inside of the portal when you're chasing gear and doing that power climb. Yeah.
And a North Star for this, when y'all were talking about it, we've had a ton of conversations with the dev team, is like, there's a lot of feeling of I'm playing Destiny the wrong way, and this was contributing to it because I had to think, oh, if I put this armor on, it's wrong. This helps that out and gets you into the fun faster.
Yes,
So.
and then like we do believe and see a space for ways to highlight gear and exotics and things like that. Stuff we've done with the artifact for a while now. We want it to be part of the game because I think pushing people off of the super hot stuff is really healthy sometimes to just have more fun and experiment with things. But we know that we need to find ways to make this feel like a bonus and more excitement to do it versus what we currently have.
Bungie trying to kill metas again.
Yeah, and then our last section here for quality of life, let's talk about sandbox balance. Y'all have been really taking a lot of the feedback to heart since the announce of quite a few nerfs and
Every time they say that, I
and you
groan
have some
mentally.
new approaches to philosophy when it comes to this.
Yeah, so at the top,
You only heard the
one of things
feedback
we're
a million
doing is
times.
we're
It was
upgrading
a
our
million and
internal
one that you actually
process
did
for
something
kinda
about
how
it.
we evaluate our buff and nerf policies, and also the timing of which when we go out and do those. And so a big part of that here through Renegade's launch is going to be non-critical balance changes are on pause right now. And so this is partially in reaction to obviously some of the sentiment around some of the changes we're making, but it's giving time for us to make sure that when we
Another
do start
bot.
to do more balance updates a little more frequently again, we communicate honestly. We just need to do a better job about communicating about why we're changing something and some of the intent
Whoops.
behind it.
They want to do
The
that.
reason I speak about this, yeah, because you asked me this a couple times in our rehearsal, Dylan. It's like, what does non-critical mean? Sorry, I'm taking your words here.
No, no.
I'm just on a roll. We really want to make sure that we're still making balance changes, or if we have to ban something for that.
God, why does he keep
epic
putting it
raid
over
race or
there?
the dungeon race that's going to happen with Renegades, right? The quality of that experience is incredibly important to us, and we know it's incredibly important to y'all. And so, again, we're putting a pause on nerfs and balance changes for now, but if we really need to change something because it's critical for those upcoming events, we'll make changes.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's like there's some things where you watch somebody go on a Titan and kill a raid boss in 2 punches. Like, that's critical. That needs to be toned down or balanced around. But other things, like we actually have a list here of we announced some tuning changes or nerfs that we're going to be reverting. Last week we were talking about Grand Overture and Queenbreaker.
Yeah.
We're reverting the changes there.
Yes.
And then we had some reworks to exotics like Stronghold, Chromatic Fire. We're going to be reverting those. And then as a part of this new initiative where we're looking at our philosophy, reevaluating how we do these things, we'll be looking how we approach it and how we communicate it.
Yes.
So
exactly.
cool. And then final note to end on a high, honestly, like we've been talking about nerfs and all that. Let's talk about buffs.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we've got some buffs. We've been working with the gameplay team around supers and subclasses that are going to be coming. Some with Ash and Iron here in October, but then also in December with Renegades. And I think you've been talking with them a little more closely actually in the last 24 hours.
Big thank you to Ben Womack, Eric Smith, Sandbox team. A couple notes, like we saw a thread where folks were saying, hey, the original 3 supers that launched with Destiny 11 years ago, happy birthday.
Yeah.
They feel a bit undertuned. And I saw a note where it's like Word of Dawn, Titan Bubble, that needs to be brought up. Golden Gun. I know Warlocks are getting some abilities changes too.
Turrets.
So
turrets changes coming very soon.
Yep. And grenades and other things too outside of turrets. So
Yep.
we will have a full list over the coming weeks, and honestly, it may build. We need to get our roadmap together so we know exactly which hot fixes, updates they're going to be rolling out in. But yeah, we'll be as transparent as possible with you. So to really end it and get into the awesome Ash and Iron content, thank you again to everybody that's been giving us feedback. Thank you to everybody that's been playing and diving into all the changes. We know some need work, and we're going to be doing that. We've been listening.
As a brief just interjection, I groan every time I hear Bundy talk about how transparent they are, because I still remember just this last week when they broke those fantastic news about the portal changes, about nerfing solo ops that the entire community was in uproar about. DMG, the man on screen right there, said that they were listening, but then also said, by the way, I'm going to disappear with my family for the weekend out into the wilderness and stop looking at my phone. So yeah, community manager, when the community's on fire, said, I'm going out to the country and I'm ignoring this. I'll be back Monday. So great transparency.
And we're executing on a bunch of changes over the next few updates and beyond Renegades. So Robbie, thank you for joining us. As we're going into Ash and Iron, we got to get the couch full of new devs.
Yep.
So yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, we're listening, and we're going to keep responding to the feedback. So thank you all so much. And yeah, let's get some more people on the couch. I've been talking too much.
Yeah, you
See
brought
y'all
up
later.
Vidoc. We have a trailer for Ash and Iron roll.
Let's do it.
The conductor's forces are
This same trailer.
We're sending you in to investigate and take action. Be ready for anything.
Still say it, Plague Lands look more like Deadlands. No fire, no ash. Barely anything that made the Plague Lands iconic originally is present. Might as well just be an attachment to the rocket yards as opposed to the Plague Lands. Also, I hope that is a Drang rocket pistol, because if there is legitimately a Sturm and Drang, but Drang has a rocket pistol, that will actually be a pretty decent option. Because right there I see normal draying and it fires like normal, and the other one looked like a rocket one. Rocket draying is legitimately a thing that might actually be a nifty buff for Sturm and Drain together. Also, I pray that this is actually an exotic weapon and not a pickup weapon, because if that's an exotic, that could actually be a decent game changer. But we know Bungie is probably going to drop the ball on that.
All right, welcome back. In about 20 minutes, the content from that trailer is going live. Let's talk about Ash and Iron. We have a bunch of really cool stuff coming with a new activity called Reclaim. We have a new introductory activity that's going to be giving you some insight into the narrative. We also have an exotic mission coming in October. Team's finishing up on that, and we're super excited for the weapon that's associated with that. And we actually have some updates to recurring events like Iron Banner, Arms Week, Festival of the Lost, and more. So without further ado, hello, welcome to our couch, wonderful developers. Some of you have been here before, but Noah, first on the couch, this is your first time.
Yeah, no, I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome. For folks to learn who you are,
Yeah.
who are you? What do you do? What's your title?
Yeah, my name's Noah Pearson. I'm an associate sandbox designer here at Bungie. While my title is like officially working on the armor team, I do work in
Title
armor.
was not laid off.
You find me constantly working on the seasonal artifacts, like the one for Heresy, the current one for Season of Reclamation. Both those are mine. But I've also branched out and I've gotten to do a pretty cool exotic weapon in this release as well.
Awesome. Next on the couch, Jerome, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah,
Jermaine.
really quick, let's get a summary. Who are you? What do you do?
I'm Jerome. I'm a narrative lead, so we do the lore, we do the dialogue, we do the cutscenes, and we plan the overall story for Destiny 2.
Awesome. Last but not least, Clayton. Welcome
Hey.
back. I believe you were last here for Revenant and Into the Light.
Yep.
Yeah. For folks that may have missed out on those streams, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm a design lead here for the activities and events area on Destiny 2, and in the past I've been an activity designer or feature owner for activities like Onslaught or Coil or Seraph Shield. So it's been really fun getting my hands dirty in different types of activities and bringing those experiences to the players.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So as we're diving through some stuff, we already have gameplay rolling. This is our new activity, Reclaim. But Jerome, let's talk about narrative. How are things kicking off?
For sure. Well, Maya Sundaresh, the conductor, has somewhat overextended herself on Kepler during the events of Edge of Fate. And she foolishly tried to meddle in the affairs of the Nine and essentially assassinated 3 of the 9, which is the 3 of Earth.
3 being a single entity, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's going to have huge knock-on effects for the people of Earth in physics and chemistry, and we'll hear a lot more about that in Renegades. But for now, Maya is somewhat depleted, right? And she is starting to lose control over her collective. She's starting to bleed individuals at the edges of her collective, and those are the pants-wearing, poker-playing Vex that you saw.
Crime. Yeah.
Exactly. And so she needs to reassert control over her collective. And in order to do that, she needs a signal boost to maximize the power of her waning echo of command. And the best tool for that job is, of course, Golden Age tech. And the best place to find Golden Age tech is in the Vanguard Vault, which is why Ash and Iron begins with a defense of the tower from a smash and grab by Maya's forces, both Vex and conscripted Cabal, which you'll learn more about during the season. But that's going to be
Yep,
start,
there we
but
go.
not sufficient
Another
for
nether
her
type
plans.
thing.
So she will need a fully functional Warsat network to really expand her reach. And there's only one place where you can find that, and that's in the Plaguelands, which is where most of Ash and Iron.
Hang on. Fully functional Warsat array. There was Mars and Rasputin's core there. And Titan. Well, actually, no, not Titan. Io, I believe. And there was a Rasputin bunker in the EDZ. God, they're really reaching hard, aren't they?
Takes place.
Awesome. So speaking of the smash and grab, when players first sign in for Ash and Iron, they're going to see a node that they can launch for the introductory mission. It's not auto-launched. You're going to
About damn time.
when you're ready. But after that, you'll hop into Reclaim. Those are going to be some new activities.
So annoying loading
Let's get a
into
quick
that.
overview.
I had
What
no
everybody's
chance
seen
to
on the
look at
screen.
the new
Yeah,
shit.
so Reclaim is our new 3-player activity. comes with 3 different variants. It has players, like Jerome was saying, going into the Plaguelands, stopping Maya's forces from taking Golden Age tech and reclaiming those areas, those territories. And so you notice that there's a lack of Fallen, but we, through our like ambient combatants and our environmental storytelling, you'll know a little bit more about what has happened there, how Maya's come in and pushed them all out. You'll see some of them trying to fight back to get in because they think that's their land, right? And as a player, you're trying to go in there
Still no
and,
Siva.
play in a similar way that you might find like Overthrow, where we took a lot of inspiration from. So you get to choose how you want to fill that progress bar. Do you want to finish a bunch of encounters that are randomly generated, which adds to a bunch of replayability? You can
Nether
progress
Overthrow.
by finding hidden chests or defeating roaming high-value targets. There's collectibles in there as well. All without like.
I'm gonna be honest. If we have another
season
seasonal activity we got to spend half an hour in to complete, I'm gonna be way less interested in any of this.
Move to the next area by way of.
I'm already not very.
Stellar. Yeah, and I was talking to our gameplay folks before this launched, and we talked a bit about there's a bit of like Nether DNA in here, where you have your main objectives. And then
A
you can
bit
try
of?
things throughout
Jesus
the area
Christ,
as well.
it's literally Nether.
Yeah, we have Vivian went ham and gave us these like quite frankly unbalanced buffs that will have a rare chance of spawning, and you get to choose which one.
I love a Bungie tiptoes. It's like,
you will
let's
get
see
to
some
choose
Nether
it.
inspiration.
It'll just
It's
be
literally just
Radiant,
Nether in the
and,
Plaguelands.
What's the other? Radiant and Amplified. Thank you. Yeah, just the whole time. So, yeah, have fun choosing between these crazy buffs and using them to finish the activity.
Awesome. And when we're talking about collectibles, there's going to be some lore collectibles too, correct?
Absolutely. We're continuing the pass forward from the previous.
Oh my God, he's actually got the axe. Thank God, the axe is not a pickup weapon. It's a
players a lot
owned
about
weapon.
What to expect in Renegades, both in the cast and the themes. Though it's not explicit, so they'll have to use a little detective work, we hope, but it will give a lot of information about what's to come.
Got it. So these are going to be like the data pads you find in
exactly,
the portal.
exactly.
Awesome. Yeah, so I
I
mean,
just hope
let's
there
talk
isn't
about,
20
let's talk
weekly
about
objectives
weapons. Let's talk
regarding
about
them.
the loot. And Noah, now it's time for the spotlight to go on you.
Yeah.
First up, let's talk about the exotic that's going to be in the rewards pass for Ash Iron. This is going to be our pulse rifle.
Yeah, so Noon Malpice is going to be our reward pass exotic for this release. Obviously, with the Edge of Fate, we released a rocket frame pulse rifle, Mint Retrograde, that people have really taken to a liking for. And we kind of took a look at that, and we're like, well, what's a cool way to one-up that and like +1 it for an exotic? So you may notice from the gameplay that this rocket pulse doesn't just shoot like the micro rockets, it shoots sticky bombs. And these will stick onto the environment, they'll stick onto enemies, and when you hold down your special reload button, they'll pop like little firecrackers. And it's really fun to just sort of like spray them out across like a group of guys.
Very
and, like,
Torg
turn
from
around,
Borderlands
walk away
3.
from them, click the button, have them like pop all behind you, because cool Guardians don't look at explosions.
So this may say a lot about me as a person, but you can also stick these to your teammates, right?
I guess you'll have to see.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about the next exotic. This is going to be tied to an exotic mission that's coming out in October, and I can already see you kind of getting
Gee,
excited. like
why
Vivian was
October?
excited for
Jesus.
The crossbows that we added. Let's talk about the Iron Axe.
Making us wait
Kept
3
me
full
waiting.
weeks to get into this exotic
Yeah,
mission?
so the exotic mission, you know, way back with Rise of Iron, like as a player, I remember like the YouTube videos coming out ahead of it of like YouTubers being like, hey, maybe Bungie's gonna give us this axe that's in the marketing, and like obviously didn't come to pass in that release, and then like come final shape, Crows got it, and I, much like many people, were like, man, I want that axe.
When's my turn?
Like I want that
Yeah.
thing. So when I heard that we were going to be doing a little return to the Plaguelands, it was like, I'm going to twist whatever arms necessary to finally get the thing that I know I want and I've seen other people want for ages. So yeah, I can confirm
Why the hell did you call it a sword when it's so clearly not a sword? Ugh.
that's no relic. That's our new exotic weapon.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think for Clayton and Jerome, since this exotic mission, the team is finishing up the touches and really building this experience. It'll be launching in October. So let's just give a quick preview, no spoilers or no deep spoilers, about what's the premise.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Maya wants to expand her reach, and the best way to do that is like the same way you would with the Wi-Fi in your house. You need expanders, you need routers, right, to boost that signal. And so she is going to be looking to get her hands on Warsat technology, which is why we'll be working with Saint 14 and Anna Bray throughout the season Saint 14 is sort of our tactical expert, and then Anna.
Another opportunity to bring back Shiro. They
with her
bounced out.
Association of Rasputin having all the subject matter expertise on warsats.
Awesome. And not to get too deep into spoilers, but you will be working with 3 of Kayatol's Scions specialists in the mission. So,
Man, I can't wait. Yeah, October can't come soon enough. So let's come back to day one. I keep checking my watch here. 10 minutes, 11 minutes until launch. We also have a slate of legendary weapons that are going to be coming out. We have some armor sets in the portal that are going to have brand new armor set bonuses, but we also have brand new weapons.
Yeah.
And I know a couple of these things are kind of complementary to exotics.
Yeah. So with Ash and Iron, we as Sandbox were like taking a look at some exotics we wanted to bring up, and we talked about Mida and Sturm getting some updates to bring them up to that modern parity. But like when those weapons came out during year 1, they came with their paired weapons, and like during that time, you know, it made sense, you know, like to have 2 primaries. That was what the game was. So when you're taking a look at like bringing them up to modern Sandbox standards, you're like, well, we should probably hit it for the paired weapons as well too. So we took a look at some of our other special archetypes, and we're like, what could we set up for this? So with this release, we've talked about them, I believe, in the TWID, but we are going to have a rocket frame Drang Unfall, and
Sweet.
a new like lightweight Mida macro tool shotgun, and both of
Wait,
them
what?
have the tools that kind of key off of being those paired weapons. So like Mida macro tool has Discord and Trench Barrel, and it was really fun to like run that with Mida. Because then you have like, you know, you pop a couple guys to get those like attachments onto Mida, and then you switch and you have Discord proc, and you like slap a guy, and then you just are able to like pump into a bunch of dudes. And it's got the really cool draw animation from Wastelander back during 30.
Wait a minute. How is this supposed to be a Mida synergy weapon when it doesn't look like Mida multi-tool at all? It just looks like a Tex Mechanica weapon. Oh.
Anniversary, so you get that cool like cowboy draw. And it's so fun to run
And
around
the sidearm is arc, correct?
It is our second arc rocket frame sidearm. It's got a pretty big mag size, so instead of
So why do you make one look exactly like Drang, but the other one doesn't look like its match?
to plug a couple rockets into a guy and have them jolted, and then pop them with like a really powerful Sturm shot.
Awesome. Yeah, and these are going to be added so through the portal. Reclaim is going to be living in the portal.
The portal.
And some of these. We also have Crucible Ops is going to be the source of the shotgun, and then a couple other things as well that you'll discover in just a few minutes here. So let's move on. Our last conversation, or our last topic of the day, is going to be around events, our recurring events. And the first thing that kicks off is actually a new one to celebrate Reclaim. And Clayton, what are we going to be doing today?
yeah, we're launching with New Territories Reclaim. It's a new standard event that will highlight a new activity. And so we do that with our daily challenges, weekly challenges, or it's for a week, so 1 weekly challenge, and then it has its own reward track and an event home that you can launch the activity from as well.
Awesome. And then I believe it's next week, we also have Iron Banner coming back.
That's right.
So is that also going to have an event home?
Yes, it'll have event home, same slew of things where daily challenges, a weekly challenge. You'll have your reward track. We have a hand cannon coming in there. We have an armor set, and you'll have your title and your triumphs as well.
Yeah, I believe we redacted the new set bonuses for Iron Banner, but I've heard they're actually quite fun.
Yeah, pretty cool. Might want to hold on to it when you get your hands on that axe.
Awesome. And then the third event that's going to be coming is Arms Week. Noah, coming back. The first one was all centered around, let's look at hand cannons. We had the new shotgun style hand cannon.
Yeah.
And then with this one, it's going to be shotguns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're taking a look at shotguns this time around. So much like during the prior Arms Week, we will also have a cool slate of shotgun mods this time around. My favorite of which, when the designer who was working on them, Taylor Bjorndal, who was on the stream before, when he was starting to work on them, me and him were sort of bouncing ideas back and forth. And I was talking about like old rapid fire frame shotguns when they had like the really fast rate of fire. And I was like, I mean, what if all shotguns shot like that? And he like paused for a minute, and then I got the message, what if they're all just fourth horsemen?
Oh, Bjorn, you mad scientist.
It is really entertaining to take a slug shotgun and have it shoot that fast.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of celebration with these volatile mods for hand cannons during that week. So with shotguns, we have the one that's effectively going to be fourth horseman everywhere.
Yeah.
But we have a couple more too,
Yeah.
and we'll leave that for players to discover
It's going to
soon.
be super awesome.
See,
Next
this all
up on the
sounds
slate,
fun,
we
but
have
everything
Special
else is
Ops
dragging
gonna
it
be coming
down.
Back during Ash and Iron, and we have a preview of our armor sets. So these are armor ornament sets. Y'all voted on these earlier in the year last year, and we had to show them. They look great.
Figures they introduced some of the coolest armor sets in the year that I could give less of a
But
shit
with,
about Destiny.
Festival Lost we have some new activity content, correct?
That's right. The Headless Ones have broken out of Haunted Lost Sector jail. Because of that, we have new activities. So we have a new PvE 6-player activity called Haunted Altars. And then we have a new PvP activity called Red Rumble. Hocus Focusing is coming back. It's going to be a 2-week-long activity. We have 2 new weapons, your Pies weapon. You'll have your reward track, event home, the whole shebang. I'm very excited. It is very fun to play in those activities.
Awesome.
It's chaos. Just all chaos.
And then the last on our list, so Jerome, we have a new event called Call to Arms that's going to be coming at the end of Ashen Iron. Can you give us a quick overview?
Sure. We're going to be working with Devram K, who has been holding down the EDZ for the better part of a decade without a ghost, right? Doing it all on one life. And he'll be taking some much-deserved R&R in the tower and being our liaison to the foundries. We have to remember that most of the guns that the Guardian fires are designed and produced in the last city. Of course, we know that they're actually designed and produced here with the sandbox team.
What do you mean? Cassoid's in-house.
That's right, Mr. Cassoid, right here. So we will be working with Devram to stress test the latest and greatest in gear from the foundries, and the Guardians that can push their gear the furthest and get the most out of it will reap the greatest reward. So there's a competitive aspect to it as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about this competitive aspect, the Call to Arms is going to be a ton of rewards, legendaries, some cosmetics for anyone to earn, but then we have kind of some cosmetics at the top for our hardcore, so to speak, to really earn. And Clayton, I think you were talking about a helmet?
Yeah, we have a helmet ornament. It is fantastic looking. When you equip it, if you're in that top earner, you will have this like tail of flames coming from you, and much like the
yes,
glow,
because the
flames
true
signify
end
that
game
you
of
are
Destiny is
top,
cosmetics.
a top competitor in this.
So when I load into the tower, I'm going to see this guy with a giant fiery mohawk. I'm going to know, okay, they were top of Call to Arms.
Impressed and scared at the same time.
But then we have some cosmetics, like I said, for just general players too. Like I believe there's an exotic ornament for the pulse rifle on the reward track, and a bunch of other things to earn too. So
we have daily login rewards as well, and we have vouchers that will actually help set you up for the next season.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thanks for the quick overview. We will definitely have more information in the tweet about this new event. And as we're going through Ashen Iron, we'll have an update before each of these events to give you a quick a recap of what we've been talking about today. So just to end it up as well, we have a brand new crossbow that's going to be coming in. So our first crossbow was introduced through raids. And this one is going to be through our events. To start, it's going to be a low drop chance from any of the events that we just covered. And then in Call to Arms, you can focus this thing to really hammer on getting those rolls. And Noah, what's the damage type on this?
Yeah, so you might have seen it in the gameplay. It's going to be a stasis crossbow. And obviously, with a stasis weapon comes stasis perks. And I'm very happy to say that it does have chill clip, and it in fact does freeze in 2 shots. And oh my god, there's such like a fun play pattern of like you pop a guy twice with it, they freeze, and then if you have serrated bolts, you run up and you pull them out of him, and the serrated bolts do damage and cause him to pop. So you just like put him in a major, and you cause him to explode and hit all the dudes around him. And it was an oddly fun play pattern of just running around and blasting people that I got quite a few giggles out of in playtest.
I can't wait. So again, to say it, today with our New Territories event, you can get this to drop. It will be a low drop chance, but over the course of the rest of the season with each event, more chances, and then Call to Arms, you can focus it along with other gear and really go hard for the role you want.
And it has a holofoil.
And a holofoil in Call to Arms as well. So that brings us to the end of our show. So
I love that Bungie jailbroke those 3 playtest accounts and gave them platinum starlings without having to do the 100 forges.
The Renegades pre-orders are live now, and as we said at the top of the show, we have some new pre-order incentives that also apply to the Year of Prophecy folks. That
yes, incentives, aka cosmetics.
Legendary emblem, and then yeah, in 3 minutes here we have Ashen Iron launching. So thanks for coming in. Hope you enjoy the rewards. We'll have more details on our quality of life updates over the next few weeks and a roadmap coming soon. So thank you. Can't thank you enough. And if you want to stick around, we're going to be handing off the stream to Mactix. Good friend. He's great at Destiny. Sometimes I do question his PvP prowess, but love the guy. So thanks for joining. Have a good day.
Once upon a time, I would be excited about everything. You know, I'd be looking at the bright side of everything. But right now, I'm just looking at all of this and saying, good lord, this is not where we should be going. Long, dejected sigh. Well, that was the reveal stream. And yep, like I said, my view of Ashen Iron was dissatisfied, not really enforced, especially after hearing the exotic mission is going to be here in a month or more. But Renegades literally just looks like Destiny said, hey, Helldivers doing good, let's do Helldivers. And also, let's put Star Wars all over it. Oh, boy. I don't know what I expected, but I definitely was disappointed. Well, on that note, I suppose that's where I'm going to leave this. I was going to condense it down, but I do not want to re-experience any of this, so I'm just going to leave this as is. And on that note, that has been this dreadful reveal stream.